Hello, my friends. Happy Wednesday to you. What's going on, right? It's the new year. All of a sudden, I got two shows coming at you, one after the other. Yeah, the title, Life Isn't Fair. I hear that a lot. And a lot of people that feel this way, they are going through some really hard times. Loss of loved ones, loss of friends, loss of employment, loss of homes, loss of health. A lot of loss. When people lose things, they feel like somehow they're losing, not realizing that everything in this existence, if you will, is working together to get us to where we are meant to be. The picture in the background, yes, that is me and my familia. That is the Israel house. That's when we were young. If you take a look at me, I was a lot heavier. Back then I was about 255 pounds. I'm 195, but I was diagnosed with yet another autoimmune disease, ankylosing spondylitis. And instead of doing all of the crazy stuff that most people would do, you worry about being ended up looking like one of them hunchbacks, because a lot of people who have this disease is called bamboo spine. They can end up looking that way because of the arthritis and the damages. And I said no. I decided to do everything I could to take this to another level, get in the shape that I've always wanted to be in, to feel the way that I've always wanted to feel, to be the person that I've always wanted to become. And it wasn't long. It only took a couple of years. And it was just little baby steps. I made changes to my diet. Things that I knew weren't healthy, I made little changes. And then I just pushed myself to get outside more. But there was a key, right? A lot of people say, Jacob, what can I do to, get in better shape? And I'm not a fitness guru. I'm going to have my buddy Stevie Richards on from the WWE. He and I were pretty good friends. He's a master at fitness, and I'm going to have him on soon. Check out his channel. I'll link it below, and he'll tell you about that. But what I'll tell you that worked for me was two things. Okay, I made my workouts fun. See, when we were children, life was better, right? It felt better. You were at play, you had wonder, you would look at something, you'd see something, and you're like, wow, this is amazing. And it would take you away, and you'd dream of doing things. We used our imagination. We got outdoors. We played. We had fun. So what I started doing was I started listening to music, and I just got these new AirPods. It was a huge gift. Those are super expensive, but I can do my cardio at the gym now, and I can do my dance moves because I do. I haven't tell you, my children, all of them, they're much older now. This is 7 years ago. They make fun of me. But my point is that it's fun. I don't look at it as a chore. I look at it as like, oh, I'm going to go play now. And, if music's your thing, listen to the music you like, right? If I was to instill upon you any advice onto how to get in better shape, start to feel better physically, besides just changing your diet, which is so very important, because the food that you're eating, it's super processed, it's genetically modified, and a lot of it seeps testosterone and it adds estrogen. And that's why right now we're seeing stuff with males, especially, where they are becoming more and more, female. It's kind of like, it's very strange, but the food is what is doing this. It's kind of keeping us docile, and it's keeping us from living a life of vigor and fulfillment and joy. And that's why people today are miserable. That's why people today say life isn't fair. But you can change that. You can change that. You can say, look, I may be facing this disease. I may be facing this crisis. I may be facing this mountain of debt. But I can change it. I can take a step, one step after another step after another step. You see, there is a great proverb. It says that take no thought for tomorrow. Tomorrow will take care of itself. In other words, worrying about stuff isn't going to change stuff. But thinking about and seeing yourself in the future, living healthy, feeling better, being free in your mind and in your heart and in your world, and not being restrained by the things that are thrown upon you. For myself, when I grew up, when I was very, very young, right? My My mother had me, she was very young. She was a teen mom. I grew up very poor in a very wealthy area. And when I turned about 14, I ended up with Crohn's disease. I was abused. I was picked on. I was put down. I didn't have a leg up on everybody else. I was always kind of the joke. But I changed that because I saw a bigger vision for myself. I didn't even know what I was doing, but from early on, I was seeking after a faith. I was looking for more. I was seeking. I was hungry because I wanted to be happy. I was so young and I should have been thrilled. Those were the years that I should have enjoyed the most, but those were the years that were hardest for me, or so I thought. And as I grew and as I became successful and as I moved from one place to another place, every obstacle that stood in my way seemed grander than the next. To be on top of the world and then to lose everything. To be married with 2 children and then to have your wife leave you and then end up having to raise 2 children on your own. To be faced with another stay at a hospital, to be faced with another surgery, to be faced with another issue and another attack and another this and another that. You want to add into the equation the time that you put your faith in the wrong places, like you go to a therapist, like I did that. And then they're like, well, you need this drug and you need that drug and this is going to make you better. And what did it do? It made me worse, right? Years ago, what did I end up doing? I ended up hating myself so much that I ended up I cut myself. Who does that? Who does that, right? Doesn't matter how old you are. Doesn't matter if you're a teen or you're in your 20s or your 30s. I'm 47 right now. I'm going to be 48, right? But I'm not like every other 47-year-old, especially those who have a medical history that I have. I smoked for 10 years. Why wouldn't I? I grew up in a house in an area that everybody smoked. Everybody hated themselves deep down, so subconsciously we were hurting ourselves. I just, one day, just stopped. Just like one day when I was on the ground saying that life is just the worst and life isn't fair and I'm crying and I'm shaking and blah, 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 blah. Woe weighs me, right? Mr. Spiritual, Mr. Seeking after the truth no matter what the cost, thinks life is the worst. Ha! That little voice. You can get up, you can wash your face. You can be happy. And you can be happy. Life isn't fair. Let me tell you something. I know that a lot of people are going through horrible things and have suffered terribly. But to say life isn't fair is to dictate the next miserable years of your life. To say life isn't fair is to say that you will never be at peace. A lot of people don't ever question that perhaps the reason that they're going through these things, health-wise, financially, society at a whole seems to be against them, and they think to themselves, life isn't fair, I don't deserve this.
How come every time I get one jerk out of my hair, another jerk pops up?
They don't realize that perhaps, right, you're that important that every horrible, terrible thing that is happening in your life, I know you don't want to believe this, is trying to get you to wake up in love, to be free, to understand that it was perhaps your hate, your judgment towards these people, your lack of love for these mean meanie pants, your lack of your love for the mean meanie pants that come in and make you feel bad because you just want to live your life and be free. Problem is, a lot of people don't know that the world that we're living in, this place, it's like a gym. It's a big spiritual gym. And the weights that we lift are like the lies of the world and all the nonsense that's thrown our way. Physically, there are always going to be consequences. If you live an unhealthy life, you will be unhealthy. But that doesn't mean that you can't live a healthy life. There was a little secret that I learned, right? Stretching is a big thing for me. I love to stretch. I love stretching. I've been doing it for years, but I didn't start that long ago. And I think that stretching was the key because if you think about it, we have all these forces working against us. And when we end up old, we end up all hunched over and everything else. And when I was diagnosed with AS, which I said was an autoimmune disease, just like my Crohn's disease, which I have the scar in the stomach and everything, had my intestines removed. I had a lot of issues. Right? We've all had them, of bullies, terrible abuse. I've gone through it, but life was fair for me because where I am right now is talking to all of you. All of that pain, all of that nonsense, all of that, my past, right? The life that you've lived You ever wonder why the devil is lived backwards? Think about that for a second. Because if you're busy looking at your past and you're saying that's going to dictate my future, it will be. Because whatever a man believes, he becomes. If you believe the worst, you're going to get the worst. Judge not, lest you shall be judged. So I started stretching. I said, you know what? I'm not going to be a hunched over guy. I'm not going to be in pain all the time. I'm going to take this and I'm going to turn it on its head. This world is like our clay. I mean, we were placed here to be fruitful and to multiply. We're placed in this garden to grow things, but things that are built on a lasting foundation. And that's the problem. And that's why a lot of people say life isn't fair. And yet, where you are right now, whether you like it or not, is exactly where your past has brought you. Exactly where all of your choices have led you. Exactly you. Your life led you here. Other people's lives led them there. Choices that we make. Now, there's things that happen, sure. I'd like to think that, terrible accidents and everything else, that there is a cosmic, a divine plan, a judgment, because in the grand scheme of things, if this is reality, as scripture says, is not the end result, that this is almost like a simulation, like this is just a testing ground, right? That we're here for but a minute. We're compared to grass that sprouts up and then blooms and then withers away, and dust to dust. That's what this existence is. It's a blip. It's a whisper. It's a wisp of air. It's nothing compared to the divine spark of life that was breathed into you when you came into this world. In Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 8, it says, "Better is the end of a thing than the beginning." Right? Think about that for a second. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning. It's better now than it was for me. Even this week alone, it's better now than it was for me. Because the end is better than the beginning. Right now, a lot of people making a lot of resolutions, right? And they're going to make a lot of changes in their life. And we know historically that resolutions don't last. And why don't they last? It's because people think that life isn't fair. They say things like, I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't do this. I can't do that. And when they speak these things, they don't understand that there is a law at work. It is the truth. Your tongue, though it be small, it's like the rudder of a ship. The power of life and death is in your tongue. It's the words that you speak. They'll either bring life to you and those around you, or death to you and those around you. Death to your dreams, or life to your hopes. It's up to you. Life isn't fair, a lot of people say. And when they say that, they basically doom their existence to an unfair, miserable time. They say, what's the point? What's the point? I got too much weight to lose. What's the point? Look at how big I am. I can't. What's the point? There are a lot of videos online that you can watch where people have literally transformed their lives in just a year or two. Remember that show, Biggest Loser? One of my friends, somebody who worked with me, actually won it. Michelle Aguilar. She won it. Looked like a totally different person, like less than a year. Now, granted, it was trainers and diet and all that jazz, but anything is possible for those who have faith. Anything. All things. People think for me, they think that life is so easy for me, right? Well, they don't even understand. My beautiful wife, right? When there was a time when I thought my beautiful wife hated me and wanted to leave me, right? There was a time when my beautiful wife and I were thinking about separating. There was a time. Isn't that crazy? But what did I do? What did I do? In the moment of my darkest night, as they say, I made a choice. I didn't say life isn't fair. I didn't say that Danielle was so wrong. What I said was, this is my life. I'm going to love that woman more than any woman has ever been loved. I'm going to love her with an unconditional love that you would have for your own child. The unconditional love that God has for us. That's why I'm not worried about people right now that are, lost. And happy is the man that when they are off course, their father corrects them, their parent corrects them. Happy is the man whom God chastens. So, just recently, I was just passed up with a promotion. I was passed up, right? And at first, I was like, yeah, but I'm the best. I'm like your number one star, in this entire company. I am the man. And why am I the man? Because I believe that I should do everything with excellence. And I believe that it's possible because I know that with faith, all things are possible. And so that's why when you look at everything that I've done, surely that promotion should have been mine, but I was passed up. And as I was sending a text to the man who made that decision without talking to me, who happens to be a friend of mine, I thought to myself for a second, who's in charge here? Isn't life fair after all? Perhaps I'm not meant to worry about this promotion, which, by the way, would have taken away time from all of you, which, by the way, would have taken away time from my family. Maybe I should thank God for this. And then I became happy again. Proverbs 3 says, happy is the man who finds wisdom. And I think that is wise. Because what's the point of kicking against, what's the point of kicking against the thorns in your life? When things come at you, what's the point of hitting them? Instead of just kind of sliding through and going, I'm just going to go with the punches on this one. Every time I get knocked up, I'm going to get back up. And I'm going to forgive and I'm going to love. And I'm going to understand that it is happening to me, for me. Not to me because life isn't fair. Now, I know there are some things that are just horrible and hurtful. And I don't understand why these terrible, terrible things happen, but I do know that loss of life, death, loss of loved ones, it happens to everyone. No one is immune. Everyone is going to lose a father, lose a mother, lose a son, lose a daughter, lose a brother, lose a sister, lose a friend. Everyone. It's our experience. But if you have faith that this is not all there is, then you understand that there is more than this. And no one is ever lost. And that fear that I was talking about in the beginning, loss of a job, loss of a promotion, loss of all this, I'm a loser. It's an illusion. It's a lie. Because life is fair. Life is exactly what you make it. And if you want to be happy, and you want to know peace, and you want to have power and purpose, it says, seek first the kingdom of God, and everything, every one of your desires, everything that you've hoped for in your life will be added on to you. Like subscribers.
Share around, check the bell, do all that stuff. I don't know where it is, just do it.
Jesus said very, very, very clearly in the book of John, I want to read this so I don't get it wrong. For I have given you an example that you should do as I have done. Verily, verily, truly, truly, very truly, I say to you, the servant is not greater than his Lord, neither he that is sent greater than the one that sent him. If you know these things, happy are you if you do them. And what are those things? What did Jesus say? You gotta love. You gotta love God with all your heart and all your soul and all your might, and you gotta love others as yourself. You don't know how to love God? Start off with loving others as yourself and asking for it. Because this is the year when those nonsense thoughts that have been plaguing you, telling you can't do this, this is the year when they're thrown down. Just like in the book of 2 Corinthians 10:5, where it says, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought in obedience to Christ. The power and wisdom of God. Anything, any thought that exalts itself above love, cast it down, baby. Because 2019 is the year when everything becomes clean. And I'm excited to see. And you'll see what I mean. And I'm a poet and I don't know it, but I like to show it. I don't know. I'm here all week, folks. Do me a favor and have the best day ever. I just felt like I should share this, and I wanted to show you a beautiful picture of my family, which I usually kind of hide. But you know what? They're so old, nobody looks the same anymore. You got to worry about some people. You got to worry about showing pictures of your kids online sometimes. I don't know. I'm just saying. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.